At DePaco Credit Union, we value your health and happiness as much as your financial well-being. We encourage the volunteer spirit by providing DePaco employees with the tools and resources to help grow our communities and support the causes that matter to us. We believe that giving back not only strengthens the places we call home, but also enhances our overall well-being. Well-being is the key to a life worth loving. So when you think about yours, remember that DePaco can help you be well.
All things Hawkeyes. Your all-access pass from the sidelines to the postgame. Iowa's News Now Sports presents Eye on the Hawks. Sponsored by DePaco Community Credit Union and Pin Seekers.
You mentioned the turnovers. I mean, did you think they'd come along from interceptions from two defensive linemen?
No. Yeah. To answer that, that's an easy no. Yeah, no, you couldn't predict that, but it was awesome, and one off the tip ball. Tip balls are a good thing for defenses, bad things for offenses.
Did you think Aaron was in?
Yeah, it turned out not to matter, but yeah, I mean, you got to give a guy his size, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt, don't you? I mean, that's Kodak moment.
So Kodak was a company in like the 70s and 80s that made camera. Yeah, that's another podcast for another time. But boy, yeah, plenty of memories made in Madison. A massacre on the Iowa side, 37-0. The Heartland Trophy coming back to Iowa City for a fourth straight year for the first time in 20 years. 4 straight over the Badgers. Lots to get to on this Sunday edition of Eye on the Hawks. Mitch Fick, Owen Sebring, Mike Howell here, Director Wren running the show on a Sunday. Lots to get to on a day that is turned into a bloody Sunday in Happy Valley. Of course, lots to talk about going into next week with the change in leadership at Penn State. But our focus will be on Madison for now and that win that takes Iowa to 4-2, 2-1 in the Big Ten. We tee it up courtesy of Pin Seekers here in the DePaco studio at Broadcast Park and just talk about a shutout in Madison for the first time for the Badgers against anybody in 45 years. First time for the Hawkeyes over Wisconsin in 96, and it came courtesy, as you already heard, of the Cookie Dough Boys.
Aaron, were you in?
Yeah, I think I was. I mean, I hit the pylon. Come on, that's got to be in, but yeah.
Was that your first pick of your football career, or did you get one in high school?
No, I had one in high school, and I also got tackled by the quarterback in high school. I was a sophomore, and when I was playing DA and came off the edge and took one, but I have twin older brothers, and I know they will never let me hear the end of not being able to get in the end zone. They won't be happy. They'll be a little happy about the pick, but I know they'll always hold that against me. I mean, the call kind of worked out perfect. My assignment was to go outside the tackle and have contained, and the end was looping back behind me. And so I went out, and the quarterback just turned right to me, and we're looking at each other, and he just tossed it to me. So kind of worked out.
No, this is the first interception in my entire life. So this was a great moment for me. I'm just very happy. It didn't feel real out there. So it was a good moment.
When you saw the ball in the air, what led you to just make the play on the ball? What was going through your mind?
It was just I just went into autopilot. I mean, we practiced this at least once a week, tip ball drills. So as soon as I saw it go up in there, I'm like, I just have to go get it, and then I did.
Both our D linemen, was it back-to-back drives?
Yeah.
It was? Yeah, that was crazy. I was hyped up. I thought Graves scored. I was hyped up, touchdown. But no, we were just joking around. They might be the new doughboyz. They got more picks than us right now.
They called them the Cookie Dough Boys.
The cookie, hey, that's nice. They might have to stamp that.
Anytime that we get 3 turnovers, our offense is probably going to move the ball, score a little bit. And that we were able to jump on them early, 17-0, I think, after those few turnovers. And that definitely helps you get to play a lot looser out there, I would say. Don't have to be as tight. Really keep everything in front of you.
And if you're watching on the Iowa's News Now YouTube channel, you're seeing Owen's view of those Cookie Dough Boy turnovers, Bryce Hawthorne and Aaron Graves, and just a great night for the defense. You see there again, Iowa's first road shutout against Wisconsin since 1929, barely 200 yards given up. Great run defense, pass defense was strong as well. Takeaways, fellas, from a big night in Madison, taking Iowa to 2-1 in the Big Ten.
The numbers that I saw from last night really still astonish me. Some of the things we're talking about since 1929 for shutout for Iowa and Camp Randall. 37 points being the most Iowa's ever scored there in the 131 years they've been playing this series. I mean, that really is a remarkable number. Just kind of puts in perspective maybe either where Wisconsin is at as a program right now or where these teams are kind of going in two different directions at this point. But yeah, the defense had, what did we have? 2 interceptions, had Lutmer, got a near turnover, and then had an actual fumble recovery. Just everything kind of working for Iowa last night.
You just saw T.J. Hall, his 8th pass breakup of the year. He's far and away leading Iowa and one of the best in the country. Carson Shire with a big game there. Jaden Montgomery, heck of a first start at middle linebacker in his home state. And Deshaun Lee getting some go there and making some plays. Zach Lutmer was running at corner a little bit too. He talked about that in the postgame as well.
Yeah, that was an interesting move they made a lot when they went to the base defense and brought Rex Roth there, and they take Lee off and put Lutmer at corner. So that was an interesting wrinkle. I wonder if that's just for one game or if they're going to keep doing that. Another interesting stat, last 4 games in this series, Iowa's outscored them 118-26. That's just wild. This series, I think Wisconsin leads by 1 overall, and it's just been a very even series, not just with the wins, but usually you get close games and not a lot of blowouts for the past 2 years. It's been Iowa blowing them out, and I wonder if they're going to do 37 push-ups for the rest of the year, or if a lot of these players might leave once. I'm assuming Fickle's going to be fired by the end of the year, but who knows?
Great work by the marketing team afterwards, where they had Bucky doing the push-ups and then having the hawk fly over them to the scoreboard.
Justin Elsner, who's the director of creative media, is just, whether it's the Nebraska graphics, I mean, just he's as good as it gets in the Big Ten and anywhere else in the country. So hats off to Justin for always understanding the assignment.
I don't know if it came through in the TV broadcast or if the announcers are talking about it very much, but it really is hard to quantify how much that entire crowd seems to hate Luke Fickell. I mean, that is a fan base that is so unhappy right now with what's going on in Madison. It did bring me back a little bit to, there were a lot of Fire Brian chants a couple of years ago, but at least Iowa won 10 games, while they were chanting Fire Brian. That is a team that is, I think you said, Mitch, upside down, backwards, and inside out. Just everything seems to be going wrong, and the fan base is so unhappy with where the program is at right now.
I think it shows you the importance of having a phase that can elevate or take over when one is struggling. Luke Fickell, in his tenure, has brought in Tyler Van Dyke from Miami to straighten out the offense in the quarterback position, gets hurt immediately. They bring in Billy Edwards from Maryland in this offseason. He gets hurt immediately. Hunter Simmons, who I believe was a Division II or FCS quarterback at one point, is out there as number 3. Danny O'Neill had been turning it over as the backup. Wisconsin's defense and special teams hasn't been able to sustain and support offensive struggles the way Iowa the last couple of years going through quarterback hardships. And it just shows if you're in the middle of trying to do a regime change and maybe changing how the offense was going to look, and you don't have a quarterback and you don't have safety nets on defense and special teams, the crowd turns quickly, and it's a tough spot for Madison. Again, James Franklin just let go this morning. We're recording just after 3 on Sunday. I'm a little surprised it was James before Luke.
Yeah.
I thought James might have got her, and this is more of a Wednesday thing, James might have got a reprieve losing your quarterback too, because you're just like, all right, everyone's hands are tied. Terry Smith steps in now and just hope he's, for Nittany Lions fans' sake, spark something. But yeah, the Luke Fickell, I wouldn't be surprised if while we're recording, maybe there's a release out of Madison.
If I'd counter that, and I don't know if I truly believe this, but there was so much pressure on Penn State to win a national title this year.
They were a popular pick.
And
heck, I probably picked them.
After losing to 2 of the worst teams, and heck, maybe UCLA is not one of the worst teams, but they sure looked like it the first 4 games. I feel like that's a move that had to be made. I wonder if Wisconsin, you look at their schedule, they play Ohio State next week, put the lame ducks out there a few more times and get beat up, and then you can make the firing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe get some mojo going in the back half of the season.
It is tricky to know, okay, do we stick with the guy who has been there, at least knows, any interim coach would, I'm sure, know the players well too, but it's at least stick with the system. We're probably going to lose these next 4 games anyway, so what do we do? Do we try to shake things up and have an interim come in, maybe win a game or 2 before the season's over? But it just does not look like a team capable of winning a football game the rest of the season.
And here's the weird thing, I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, is I thought the Iowa offense left some things out there. They didn't even play an A game to me. They played they were good. The rush offense was awesome. The blocking was great, and the running backs did well.
Not a lot asked of Gronowski, I feel like.
And he threw for 70%. And I'm not saying he played bad, but I just thought
for a hurt kid, did pretty good.
Yeah. Obviously he wasn't 100%, but when I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, this this could have been like 50, 60 to nothing if the offense played like a perfect, clean game. You know what I mean?
And I almost would have said the same thing about the defense. I mean, granted, I know we're talking about a historic shutout and, a 3-turnover game, but it's like there were missed tackles were still a thing that were going on yesterday. There was maybe more yardage given up. Their quarterback, what was his name?
Hunter Simmons.
Hunter Simmons. He was really running all over Iowa. Like they were doing it. Wait, Hunter Simmons was their quarterback, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
The running back.
Running back. Yeah.
Is that
Dylan
Jones?
Dylan Jones. Yeah. I mean,
he had a couple good runs. Yeah.
He performed well against the Hawkeye front seven. So I mean, I would have said almost
anything
conversely,
though.
And Kirk would say the same thing. Obviously, that there were some things left on the table that was a game where Iowa probably could have given up less than 150 total yards if they were really playing at maximum overdrive.
And we'll talk about the offense a little bit here now. Again, thanks to Pin Seekers for sponsoring our Teen It Up segment to start things on the pod. Only 319 yards of total offense, but of course those 3 turnovers meant Iowa started drives on Wisconsin's 29, 22, and 1. Aaron Graves was in. Enough said.
I thought he was short. But...
yeah. Did you hear Kirk? Did you hear Kirk with the Kodak moment?
They didn't see the replay.
There you go. Yeah. Talk about replays. Hayden Large. Catch. Great shot of that, by
dude,
the way.
hold on. Before we get a soundbite?
Yeah, before. Yeah. We're not teeing it up or anything, but yeah, let's just talk about this. Owen, I put this on X and Instagram. Owen got a fantastic shot of this. That's a catch.
I saw
it's a catch.
They never showed a good replay.
Yeah. The TV replay that they showed, actually the one that you used in the repost.
It's yours.
The very last, I mean like the TV angle.
Oh, the one they shared. Gotcha.
Yeah. The very last angle that they show, when they show from like the opposite end zone, essentially, you do see the ball hit the ground before.
His hand's under it, though.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
His hand's under it.
That's why, I wanted to see like a closer replay.
I am surprised they didn't review it. Like, it does seem like, if nothing else, it's a reviewable play.
So my only thing was Hayden didn't really complain about it. So I thought that maybe he knew, but I don't know.
I don't think he's one to complain.
I haven't seen Owen's angle yet.
He saves the emotion for the pregame circle. He's the circle guy.
If he was in the end zone, I think there might have been a little bit more of a what? Because that would have been his first score. It's like, okay, now we got to figure this thing out
there.
But also on your angle, and we're getting deep into the weeds now. That's a dot from Mark. I mean, he stumbles a little bit and drops it in. There is a point, and I pointed out in the little video breakdown. Hayden's got his right arm out and almost circles the ball. There's a point right before, he's midway to the ground. The ball is on this. It's on top of his hand, and he gets it under. And it's a catch.
There were several plays that they did not show replays to where I'm like, I actually want to see that again. It's like, come on, FS1.
I've never asked for a game to slow down.
I know, right?
But let's take a moment and enjoy the fruits of life and get calls correct. Anyways,
we already did have 2 replays in the first minute and a half.
That's right. That was a first. That was a slow start to it. But regardless, even losing the 28, 29-yard gain that would have been a big day for the Iowa offense on the ground, 200 plus, almost 6 yards a pop. 4 scores, and even with a quarterback just doing anything and everything to get on the field, an efficient day passing, although the numbers weren't gaudy, but certainly a lot to be happy about after a 37-point win on the road.
Just having faith in our O-line and knowing how much they work and how much we prepare to be in environments like this, we was very confident going into it, and it's just stacking another win.
When did you know it was going to be a good rushing night for you guys across the board?
After the first carry. 5 yards first carry, you just feel it in the air that it could be a big night. It starts off with fall camp, just creating that bond again, and just knowing that we are brother's keeper, and just knowing that we here to compete, and that we all could do it. So just being happy for each other and just letting you know that we got each other back just really keeps us grounded.
I feel like we did a really good job in the run game today. We were executing really, really well up front. I mean, we got one of the best offensive lines in the country with run and pass game. And I was just doing with what I could in the pass game, and get so many opportunities. I don't get to call the plays. We get to just run what coach gives us, and we're gonna continue to execute whatever is called for us on those plays. So if it's running the ball and we're gonna run for 200 yards in a game, or if we got to throw the ball a lot more, it's just whatever that day is gonna be. We're gonna just go out there and execute.
It comes from a good week of preparation, good film study. Coming off the bye, we got a little jump start on stuff. So I think we started off fast. We were dialed in. As the game went, we started to dial in the plays a little bit, and I think we found some ones that we really liked, and it started to roll from there. The momentum kind of went from that. We pride ourselves being tough, smart, and physical and together. And we told that was one of our keys to this game, is out physical this other team and play for the full 60 minutes. And I think we did that today, and I think we were physical. They were showing us a lot of twos and two eyes and stuff. They were playing real thick and not really wanting to move sideways that much. So it was just whoever was going to get hat on hat and who drives who back.
And there was a lot of driving back. It felt like from the get-go, the offensive line just set a tone early. Kamari Moulton, again, 95 yards on the ground, one of 4 touchdowns scored. Xavier Williams, welcome back, and brought that physicality. And, boy, the balance on this one, too. Just, he had somebody made the reference, Spencer Tillman on the call, talking about looking a little like Jerome Bettis, just with the balance and the black and gold uniform. Nathan McNeil had a nice little scamper at one point in this game, too. Talked about on Wednesday just the success they had with Caleb Johnson last year at Kinnick, but just running outside zones and hitting the outside. And just, again, from the first quarter on, it felt like whatever Iowa wanted to do in the running game, they got done.
And that's what's great to see with this run game, because it's been such a strange year of one guy misses a couple games and another guy fills in, and then that guy gets injured and then the other guys come back. And it gives you such confidence in this running back room right now. Seeing Kamari Moulton back out there running for over 90 yards, seeing Xavier Williams run for 2 touchdowns, knowing that, I mean, I'm surprised we didn't see a little bit more of Nathan McNeil, because he had a nice run out there. So it's like, let Nathan run the ball a little bit more, maybe in the fourth quarter especially. But it seems like they really are. I mean, we kind of knew it coming into the season how deep they were going to be, but truly that running back room has proven that they could go just about 5 deep at this point.
Yeah, and I wonder if Nathan McNeil will get a lot more carries moving forward. He did get more than he has been getting recently. I had to watch the last pod back because I couldn't remember if I said this. It was in my head. I was like, I think I was going to be able to rush on Wisconsin. But then when I was listening to a bunch of different podcasts and reading a lot of stuff, a lot of people thought this Wisconsin defense would be able to keep the run in check.
They were number 6 in the country coming in. And that was after, but last week in Ann Arbor, they gave up a bunch of runs. But I mean,
if you take out the first 2 games, they were giving up 102 yards, which isn't horrible, but it's not like
it's not 50 like the totality going into Ann Arbor. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did look back there. I did say when we were making the picks, I want to give myself a little credit just because that's what we do. But it was really encouraging to see, and you see it with Mark when he clearly wasn't 100%, and we're hoping after every week he gets healthier. Hopefully the passing game gets up there and it gets back to where it was against Indiana. But until then, if you can run the ball, you got a pretty good, chance to win.
You got 2 guys right now who are in. Kamari has 261 rushing yards this season. Xavier, even with missing a couple games, and Kamari's missed a couple games too, at 241. Jazz just a hair under 200. Gronowski, if you take away the sacks, has rushed for 209. McNeil at 129. Terrell Washington, who was out this game as well, with 96. I mean, that's pretty consistent to have 6 guys that are basically at 100 or more. You could argue 4 guys, again, if you take away Mark's sacks, that have at least 200. That's a balanced rushing attack that's through 6 games is just over 1,100 yards total and averaging almost 5 a carry. You'll take that. That 5 a carry, and that includes the sacks in that average yardage there.
It was maybe a little bit forgotten afterwards because it showed up a little bit more in the first quarter, but Caden Weegan getting really involved in the offense, it seems like they're early, both catching and running the ball.
They said on the broadcast, too, that that's what they had been told, that Caden Weegan was going to get a lot of touches, and now that stuff's on film, and now anytime he's out there, it's either he can be involved in the offense or that's a decoy. There was a great motion by Seth on Xavier's second touchdown run that got those eyes going left, and then he goes right, and some great blocking. Michael Burt was in, reserve tight end on that one, laying a really nice block. The confidence we heard in the preseason about these receivers getting comfortable, everybody getting settled into Tim's offense, who he just keeps calling fantastic games and just leans into strengths. I think you're seeing that more and more of just this offensive group, even if the numbers aren't gaudy, just things look smooth. Things are passing the eye test, it feels like.
They do, and I think that's a lot of the difficulty of grading the offense, because when you look at the stats, it's like, they're still 130th in passing, worse than the Big Ten, but like last night they didn't need to, right? Like,
yeah,
they got short fields and they scored, and they were up, 20-0 in the second quarter. So like, would a different coaching staff maybe just get some reps and sling it around? Maybe, but that's not Kirk Ferentz. So like, maybe it's hard to grade where that is right now, but you didn't need to. So
I think that's a really important point to make about evolution of the passing offense, Iowa's offensive numbers in general. When Iowa, in the situations where they get these big leads, and again, starting 3 drives within the Wisconsin 30, including one on the 1-yard line, Iowa's not a team that's like, oh, we're up, let's go sling it around and get 120 yards of offense in the fourth quarter and 70 or 80 of it comes through the air. I'm just kind of pulling numbers out, but they didn't even need to throw 25 times, and they threw 25 times, one from Jeremy Hecklinski, who we'll talk about in a little bit. But, yeah, that game was over at 17-0, right? And it's like,
at 13, let's... I was like, is Wisconsin going to score 13 points? The one thing I will say, and I wish Iowa was a little more aggressive in the passing attack, was that last drive in the first half. I was like, is it crucial to this game if they score a touchdown? No. But is it good practice for 2-minute offense if you try to? And it seemed like they were content with the field goal, especially in the last few plays.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that changes if Mark doesn't throw a pick to end the first quarter, too, because that felt like the kill shot, right? And he puts one up. Ricardo Hallman, who had 7 2 years ago, finally got his first of the year. That felt like it was like, all right, let's, vibes are high, and, double coverage. And you're like, okay, let's keep it under a little bit. But, yeah, I get what you're saying for sure.
Like, what other time in the season will you have, like, to have a little practice when the next time –
every game, Mike.
The next time there's a 2-minute drill, it might be you need touchdown or you lose, you know?
Sure, yeah.
So that's what I was thinking, but – overall, I don't think I can be too unhappy with that when the game was 37-0.
Yeah, that's true. The clock management at the end of the first half did perplex me a little bit. Yeah, just like not maybe going for something a little bit more.
There were a lot of tweets of, did Kirk just ice his own kicker? Yeah. Let's shift to that. There's some other notables. We usually don't do something like this. I thought it was a good recap. We talked about it already. Reese Vanderzee, welcome back. Ended up being one of the leading receivers, 3 catches, 29 yards. A lot of that was later in the game, but good to have him back. Of course, it was a week before kicking off the season. Found out about his stress fracture in his foot, but he came back and was out there quite a bit blocking as well. And again, just great to see him, and a great pickup for the second half, so to speak, almost like a trade deadline type thing if you want to draw that. And then, Drew Stevens, 3 field goals, hits 4 extra points, hits a 49-yarder as well. So much talk about how he was going to recover from a miss against Indiana that maybe could have clinched things against the Hoosiers, who now look like maybe they're the team to beat in the Big Ten, along right up there with Ohio State, a big win over Oregon. But a big day for Drew, and certainly great to see him. And then Jeremy Hecklinski makes his Hawkeye debut, jumped into the 2 spot, took a couple snaps, completed his only pass attempt right here to Alex Eichmann, the Sussex, Wisconsin native. I was talking to Coach Budd about him a couple weeks ago and just what he's done on special teams, and being a scout guy that's 6'4", 200 pounds, good weapon to have there. And Hecklinski making his debut for the Hawks. What else stuck out to you guys? Again, getting Reese back, seeing Drew have success, and there's always going to be talk about QB2 no matter what, but some interesting developments there on the depth chart that we've been following really since Tuesday, and then saw it come to fruition there Saturday.
Well, hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to Drew on Tuesday, because he does have a notable record that he's approaching right now. He's one shy of tying Nate Kading's career field goal record for the Hawkeyes, and so if he's able to just kick 2 more against Penn State on Saturday, that's going to be a significant milestone. I mean, again, for a record to stand for, when did Kading graduate?
It's almost 25 years, yeah.
Yeah, that's been around for a long time, so significant moment for Drew.
Yeah, QB too. That shocked me. I remember we were talking about it, and I gave myself credit earlier. I'm gonna eat crow now. I was like, the only way we see Hecklinski is if Hank starts, it's a blowout, or he gets hurt. And the news came out pregame. I think Chad Lysico was the first one, at least that I saw, that reported that Hecklinski was hearing that he was the 2 and overpassed Hank Brown, which truly shocks me. I don't know. I just think Kirk always, we don't see what's in practice, so he must be doing something really well in practice to jump a quarterback on the line. It seems like the only position that really you don't fluctuate a lot.
Should we have seen Jeremy come in earlier? I think that everybody felt like that game was over by the fourth quarter, and I don't know. I think that maybe some people were saying that they left Mark in one drive too long, just, again, with a quarterback who's been injured this year a little bit. Like, why not go ahead and put Jeremy in and give him a few more reps to work with?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought he'd be in sooner. I don't know if you had to. I was glad to see Mark get reps too. I think live football, as long as he was taking care of himself, benefits him after a week of no practice and during the bye. So he's still your one. I do have a thought on, I think there's a couple variables of how Jeremy jumps Hank, at least for this week. Again, Kirk alluded in the post game that it's close. You've had Hank there since December. He was bowl prep and spring as the de facto one after Brendan transfers because Mark was out. He's gotten a ton of reps. The third quarterback for Iowa does not get a lot of reps. I mean, that was when you throw Jackson Stratton in there and he's the 4 or 5 last year. That's why it's just like, okay, like whatever we can do to get him work. You've seen a ton of Hank, and he's gotten a bunch of reps. Jeremy is the 3 this first half of the season, hasn't been able to get a lot of work, except for the bye, where it was the 2s and 3s running a lot. I think now maybe there's an idea of, okay, we're not going to go into the portal in the spring to get another quarterback. We've got our top 2 contenders here. We need to, A, Jeremy's established himself as showing that he deserves the reps, and 2, we need to get him more reps to make this a true competition in the spring. If you've got 2 guys there that are 2 and 3, that both of them give you confidence, hey, if Mark gets hurt again, they can go in and maybe get this done, then we need to do our due diligence and get Jeremy the reps that he has earned, not just to solidify the backup spot and have 2 guys that we're confident in, but also we're 6 months out from needing to find the next guy who's going to start for 2 or 3 years. So I think it's advantageous. You've got, the old adage of if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. Well, when you have 2 quarterbacks at QB2, you've got good competition that's going to build not just strength behind Mark, but, you don't want to look too far ahead. But in 6 months, you're going to need to know who your quarterback is in 10 months.
And Kirk went out of his way in the press conference to point out, it is close. I mean, those guys, yes, Jeremy did move ahead in the depth chart, but, those guys are really, neck and neck right now. And so that does – and maybe that plays into, again, kind of, playing into that quarterback battle over the next handful of months. Maybe next week it's going to be Hank Brown at 2 or Jeremy Hecklinski. It seems like the rest of the way you're going to see a back and forth, and maybe I don't know if there's going to be a lot of opportunities, honestly, for other quarterbacks to get into any remaining games, barring an injury to Mark again. But I think that those guys are, you're almost going to see split snaps, like Mitch says.
That's an interesting take. I do think that would seem to be a huge philosophy change on the way Kirk's done things in the past, don't you think?
I think the gap has usually not been that
between
close
2 and 3.
Between 2 and 3. You think last year your 3 was Marco, right, for the most part, and he breaks his hand, you have to go to Jackson. And again, maybe that's the philosophy shift, and maybe Tim has something to do with that. It's just he revamped that whole quarterback room in a matter of months. Yeah, it's usually I feel like the gap between 2 and 3 is bigger than the gap between 1 and 2. And you've got 2 guys that have transferred in. Jeremy's a Georgia high school legend.
Yeah.
Hank's got a couple starts, but when you're going into, really for the first time since what? Beathard and Rudock, maybe? A true competition to who's the starter.
Stanley didn't really have a competitor, right?
Yeah, and he had been backing up as a true freshman, been backing up Beathard, and he was kind of always the guy. Petrus, it felt like, was always ahead of Padilla. This is the first time in a decade you're going to open camp and go, okay, who's our guy? I think, it just behooves you to manage that as much as you can when you have the ability to manage it. And it feels like right now, knock on wood, that Mark's healthy and coming back, that you can do a little bit of that. And again, maybe Tim has a bigger role playing in that than in years past as well, obviously, because he's 2 years here.
Yeah, that would be encouraging if they were just trying to get him both some reps in case, And
maybe they split 2s, yeah.
One other option, though, I think might be promising is that he's just better. And he's eclipsed that, and not saying Hank Brown's bad, but what if he is oh, okay, this guy's making a lot of good plays. Let's put him up there. He has to. We can't let him leave in December. Because that's, the nature of college football. If you're not number 2.
Managing a quarterback room in 2025 is why.
So
especially
this is a can't-miss guy. Yeah. Let's keep him.
And you've got that window now, January, 2nd through 16th. There's no spring window. If guys are going to make choices, they have 14 days to do it coming up in a couple months. And, it's the game within the game and the business within the game, I guess, is just, keep that room happy. Easier said than done, certainly. But, it's something to watch, even though it's not important now. It's going to be really important in 6 months come spring, because guys are going to make decisions weeks and months out beforehand, and if you're on campus in February, you're competing for that the rest of the year, and that's going to be interesting to watch. It's going to be fun to watch. It's tough to see guys jumping around. Obviously, that's how you brought in Brendan Sullivan last year, and how Jeremy's here in the first place. He was a spring transfer, but yeah, there's always going to be stuff made out of the backup spot, but it's fun, and it's more important than it's been, again, in a decade in Iowa City.
And I don't know if this does impact that battle, but, this new single transfer portal window is taking effect this coming year, right? So it's only going in January, I believe, like early
January 2nd to the 16th.
Yeah, early to mid-January is the only open portal window, and so I really don't know. It's hard to speculate if that actually has an impact on the mindset of Kirk Ferentz or Tyler Barnes or Jeremy Hecklinski or Hank Brown, but that is a new wrinkle in the transfer system that it's like, all right, as long as you do have both those guys on the roster past mid-January. Okay, now we do actually have a quarterback battle between Brown and Hecklinski come next year.
Yeah, it'll be because they can't in the spring.
Right. It's not like you can get past a spring game like we saw even last year when I think Deacon Hill was still around for the spring game in 2020, whatever year
2024
it was, and then he left after the spring game. So it's like you can't have that situation more. Charlie Jones did the same thing a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's boy, and talking about all the stuff Penn State's going through. Bo Prabula entered the portal basically because he had to during the playoffs.
Or the playoffs, right? Yeah, I wonder.
What could have been in Happy Valley.
There's been a fun narrative about what they would be if he would have been the quarterback, but he was never going to eclipse Aller, it seems. But
yeah, and boy, tough news for Aller coming out of that game yesterday. Really tough, especially late in the game as well. Just a tough spot for Penn State overall. And again, Terry Smith, a guy who has been there for a decade. He's an alum. Been in the DB room for more than a decade. That's a guy. It feels like that team's going to rally around, and we'll talk more about that on Wednesday. For now, though, we need to recap our picks because once again, some wild stuff happening there. If you can recap that for us, Mike.
Yeah. So here's the record. Mitch, you were the winner on the week, 2-2. We all missed Oregon. We all had Oregon covering and Penn State covering. So those were two huge misses on all of us.
Is Indiana the team to beat, or is it still Ohio State at the top?
I think Ohio State's better. I think they're the best team. I guess they're the reigning national champions.
Right.
But Indiana looks pretty good.
That was and boy, that close loss to Indiana now for Iowa. That was probably going to look like a good loss if you want to say that. But boy, that's a good team.
Watching that game, it's like when Indiana threw that pick six to Oregon.
Thought it was done.
You kind of thought, all right, now here's where Oregon starts to bury him. But man, yes, I would agree that Ohio State's a team to beat, but it's like it seems like every week again people are saying like, well, Indiana's not, they're not Oregon, they're not Illinois, they're not Ohio State, but it's like they keep proving people wrong.
The biggest win in program history, and I don't think that's hyperbole.
No, it's
you went into the number 3 team, the defending Big Ten champs, and you won honestly kind of decisively.
Mm-hmm. It's the program's only top 5 win on the road. They're 1-47.
Wow.
Or 1-46.
Things of Bloomington.
I believe one of those was at Iowa
years.
too in 09.
Is that right?
I think Iowa was 4th that week.
Wow.
The trick or treat Iowa City game.
Oh, well,
Tyler Sash.
Yeah, Indiana didn't win that game though.
Yeah, I'm saying that's one of the 46 they lost.
Gotcha.
And then Owen and I went 1-3. I am going to blame you guys. I picked Nebraska to cover because I didn't want us all to have the same 3 picks. So that loss is not on me.
Sometimes conformity is a good thing.
Maryland covering, and then
I blame you guys for me picking Wisconsin to cover because I didn't want us all 3 to be on the same boat for the Iowa one too. But
I just got to go with my gut.
Sometimes got to change things up.
So it's getting tighter. I'm 14-13-1. Owen's 13-14-1, and then Mitch is coming up 12-15-1.
Didn't I go 0-4 the first week?
Yeah, that's a difference.
Yep.
It's crazy.
It's
the BCS era. One loss can destroy your entire season.
I'm just thinking about this because we do these picks all year, and I think Mike maybe pointed out last week that I don't think we've had a 4-0 week yet. It's like it's just 4 games. How hard can it be? Apparently, quite hard to just pick 4
Maybe the most difficult thing any of us endeavor throughout the week. I'm still checking. Again, we're recording this in the middle of the afternoon. I'm like,
any Luke Fickell news?
No Luke Fickell news. Yeah. It'll be interesting.
No 4-0s on any week this week, but we have had 6 3-1s.
Yeah. I am curious if we do want to kill more time to see if Fickell loses his job before this podcast is done recording. ESPN released 5 potential candidates to replace James Franklin at Penn State, and I want you guys to tell me if you think any of these are realistic because there's a couple even in conference that they're saying in here.
I think I read that article earlier.
Oh, really?
Go ahead.
You got Nebraska coach Matt Rule.
Didn't he play at Penn State? I think I said that.
He walked on for the Nittany Lions and played linebacker and also worked under.
See, I think that one. I don't know. Depends on how if he goes if they will 10-2 or 11-1, it'd be tough to leave.
Nebraska is a program that's like got the capital to keep a guy there. Penn State, could probably outspend them, but Nebraska, if he feels like he's got a home there, then yes. The next one is Kurt Cignetti. Again, going within the conference, like leaving the school, like would you see that one happening?
He's wired different to where like that would be, and the fact that he shows up in Bloomington and in less than 2 years turns them into one of the teams to beat in the conference after a decade or a century plus of what Indiana football's been. As a guy who chases challenges, I wouldn't. If he's offered it, I think he'd be tough pressed to turn it down, unless he really feels like let's build something in Bloomington.
Yeah, that would be tough though to pay James Franklin $60 million buyout then pay out Indiana, because I think Cignetti's is like $60 million again, so like that'd be crazy. So for that reason, I'd say no. But I know he has some ties to that area. Played at West Virginia, and I think I read that his dad coached at Pitt. So
next one they list is Matt Campbell, who comes up on every coaching carousel list.
I don't see that one likely.
The next one on that list is the guy I would say is the front runner in my opinion.
Manny Diaz.
Manny Diaz was the DC there for a couple of years.
It
like feels like he's
not like that, but
really, I thought he did well there. I thought.
Oh, he did well at Penn State, but his other head coaching gigs, I guess Duke's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
I was thinking the one at Miami, his stint didn't really go that well.
Yeah, well,
another blue blood.
I feel like a lot of things Miami didn't go well for a long time there.
That's true.
That I think that'd be a good hire. I can't think off the top of my head. I probably should be able to know more about like an alum that maybe a guy like Terry Smith has put in the time and maybe he's earned it. And I wouldn't be shocked if there's a lot of internal rooting for him to get the gig. Has never had a Division I head coaching job. I think his last head coaching job might have been at his old high school, but he's been in the program for a decade plus. Again, feels like a dude that team's going to rally around.
Last one they listed was UNLV coach Dan Mullen. I don't see the fan base being real wild about a hire like that, I guess. Maybe just doesn't bring the youth. Youth is, for a guy in his 40s, when I say somebody like Matt Campbell or something that isn't really there. But nevertheless, I would be a little bit surprised to see that happen. But yeah, I agree with Mitch that Manny Diaz is at least the most likely one of that five, I think, to take that job. I still feel like Matt Campbell doesn't leave Iowa State for anything short of like maybe Ohio State or something like that if that job were to open up. Which
I could see that.
Be a while.
Yeah, we'll see how Iowa State bounces back again after a tough loss at Colorado. But that'll do it for us on Sunday. Again, we'll be back on Wednesday to look ahead to that game back at Kinnick under the lights against Penn State, which 7 weeks ago, if you would have said the Hawkeyes were going to be favored against the Nittany Lions, you wouldn't have believed it. They are. I believe the spread is the spread is 2.5 to open up.
This morning it was 2.5. Yeah. I wonder if it will change. You see this all the time where coaches will get fired, and then like UCLA, then the players like rally around the program.
This is not
better. They're still a very talented team, but
it feels like, and there were a lot of other factors in this too, but where that Nebraska team in 22 came in and rallied around Mickey Joseph, and again Cooper got hurt, Sam Laporta didn't play in that game, Monty Pontybaum didn't play in that game, Spencer Petras got knocked out. A lot of factors there, but that team was playing their tails off for Mickey Joseph. And again, Terry Smith, been in the building, has built those defensive backs into collectively one of the best units in the Big Ten, if not the country, over the last decade plus. That's a dude who can maybe right the ship. And again, he's probably coaching to show that he can be the guy to lead his alma mater as well. So it's going to be real interesting as Iowa preps for Penn State and what the Nittany Lions bring in a season where they've lost out on the big goals, but now they got nothing to lose. And boy, that's a dangerous team. Go look at the West Coast and what UCLA's become when they've got nothing to lose. And Jerry Neuheisel just running rampant over everybody coming in there.
You watched that game yesterday? You would have thought he was the head coach.
It's fun. I hope that
line's up to 3.5. By the way,
either gets the full-time gig or whatever. Just fun to see him. Fun to see Rick be a proud dad in that as well. All right. Well, we'll see you again on Wednesday. Big thanks to Ren for running the show here in the director's chair. For Mike and Owen, I'm Mitch. See you next time, and be sure to watch us on Iowa's News Now YouTube channel. Listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. We are there. Just search Eye on the Hawks, and we'll be back with another episode on Wednesday.
At DePaco Credit Union, we value your health and happiness as much as your financial well-being. We encourage the volunteer spirit by providing DePaco employees with the tools and resources to help grow our communities and support the causes that matter to us. We believe that giving back not only strengthens the places we call home, but also enhances our overall well-being. Well-being is the key to a life worth loving. So when you think about yours, remember that DePaco can help you be well.